We are now working for... One second. As we are now in the middle of a global pandemic, I thought that I would make this video to show you some of the best tools, tech and tactics that I've been using over the last few years, as I've been working from home on and off for about 2 years now. And so I'm kind of a bit more accustomed to this way of living that we're all currently going through. And I found that there's some things that have helped me over that time. And I thought that I would share them with you in this video for those of you who may be struggling to stay focused on your work, being able to just feel at home whilst doing your work, and not sort of overwork yourself or get yourself into a lot of stress, as I know a lot of people are feeling that because they don't feel like there's any difference between what is your personal time and what is your working time. So my first tip is to use either an app, a tool, or even a piece of paper to create a to-do list. I think that it's really important to plan your work week on the Monday. I usually do this in the morning, and I will write out all of the tasks that I want to accomplish for that week, and I'll break that down onto Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I personally order my tasks based upon their difficulty, with the hardest at the top of the list in bold, as these are what I tackle first thing in the morning when I feel like I'm at my personal best, when I have the most energy, the most focus. That's how I've been tackling it for the past few years, and I find that it works for me. Every single work day, I will also revisit this to-do list, and I can rearrange it very easily depending on what I got done in the previous day and how that week is shaping up as things progress. If you're wondering what tool this is that I'm using, it's called Notion. Notion I use for many different things, such as a workspace for notes, tasks, a content calendar, diary. It kind of is sort of my second brain at this point. Whenever I have any ideas, anything I want to do, I put it into Notion and I can organize it very well. If you want to try it out, you can go ahead and click the link in the description. You can use Notion within your web browser, or you can also use it as an app that you can download to Windows or Mac. The reason that I use a to-do list isn't just because it allows me to see what it is that I need to do. It's largely because I get that good feeling when I get to click the button that ticks that checkbox. It gives me a good feeling, it makes me feel like I'm being productive, and I imagine it will be the same for many of you who watch this video. You know, there's nothing greater than being at the end of the week at Friday at 5 o'clock and looking back on that week and seeing all of the tasks that you've checked off, and it gives you a real indicator of how productive you've been. So the second thing that helps me with working from home is a website called You Are Listening to Los Angeles. And this is kind of a website that plays binaural and atmospheric music with the LAPD police chatter underneath it as like a background noise. It's really cool. I'll play some of it right now.
28 responding code 3 from Martin Luther King and Webster to 2425 West 30th Street. We're still here till further.
What I think is actually pretty cool, and I think I'm right with this, is that the LAPD police chatter is actually live. I kind of like that aspect to it. And you know, this is something that I have playing in the background whilst I'm doing work when I find that music is a bit too much and distracting and silence is just too boring. For me, this is such a nice, perfect balance. You know, you obviously can't sing along to police chatter, so there's no lyrics, so you can't naturally sort of go into that and find that distracting. And it's just a nice little humming background noise, very similar to something like an airplane noise. I sometimes use that on YouTube, like a 10-hour version, and that kind of helps me get a little bit more into the zone when I'm focusing on my work. If you've ever seen the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling, which is an amazing movie by the way, if you haven't seen it, I recommend you go check it out. That soundtrack to that movie is phenomenal, and for me, because the movie's set in LA and the soundtrack's really good, it kind of fits in really well with You Are Listening to Los Angeles. And so for me, I kind of like that aspect to it, and I think that's kind of what adds to how well it actually works on me. Other things that I will commonly do include wearing my Bose QC35 noise cancelling headphones. These are incredible. And what I will do is I will listen to my personal Spotify playlist, which is just focused on working. All of the songs in there are very, very good to work to. They get me in a flow state. If you want to go ahead and follow that Spotify playlist, you can click the link in the description. And I update it quite frequently, so I hope you enjoy that. So the next tip, I admit, can seem like a little bit over the top for some, but for me this was such a subtle thing. It was one purchase, but it's completely changed the way that I work, and it allows me to focus for very long stretches of time. So I'm someone that drinks a lot of water, and being here in the attic, it can be really annoying having to keep going up and down the ladder, like 8 times an hour. Maybe not that many times, but it feels like it. And that's because I'm constantly having to go up and down to go to the kitchen to fill up my glass, to get some new water, and then I've drunk it again, I've got to go back down. And this can actually become very repetitive and prevents you from just getting into the zone and staying focused. I'm someone who gets distracted quite easily through that, especially if I happen to go downstairs and I happen to, bump into a family member, or if I'm just bored, I might just go on my phone whilst I'm filling up my cup, and that can sometimes take you down a rabbit hole. So for me, I wanted to combat that, and I kind of did something that looks a bit over the top, but it isn't. So I started to have larger glasses, and then multiple glasses, and then flasks, because I was thinking the bigger the container, more containers that can hold this water, the less times I'll have to go downstairs. But I found that I was still going downstairs quite often, and now it's got to this it's got to the point where I now have this half-a-gallon jug. And yes, it's over the top, it's ridiculous, but it works. This is the Yeti Rambler half-a-gallon jug, and whilst it is a bit OTT, it's one of the best purchases for me this year. As it's half a gallon, I just fill this up once a day. I do it in the morning. I don't have to worry about filling it up at all. As health authorities have stated, you only need half a gallon of water a day. It's what they recommend for your best health. And that is roughly about 8-ounce glasses, which equals to 2 liters. So half a gallon. And so it's good to know that all I've got to do is drink one gallon in one jug a day. I don't have to keep track of that with individual glasses, so there's that benefit too. The jug itself is incredibly lightweight, as it's made of stainless steel and is insulated, so it keeps your liquid cool or hot depending on what you put into it. The handle makes for easy transportation, and the best bit is the magnetic cap. I don't think you realize just how addictive this magnetic cap actually is. I just sit and play with this thing whilst doing work. It almost acts like a stress ball or a fidget spinner. The mag cap is incredibly strong, so it's very useful to just drop that on there rather than leaving it on your desk where you could end up losing it. So as I said, it is a little bit over the top. However, I have found it to be an awesome way of reducing the amount of times that I go downstairs to refill that cup, and it also keeps me hydrated, which is good for being able to focus for longer periods of time. For me, my most productive time would probably be in the mornings when I have combined meditation and binaural beats with intermittent fasting. Sometimes I'll go 16 or 17 hours intermittent fasting because I think it keeps me quite lightweight. If I have like something like oatmeal or eggs or bread or anything like that, it kind of weighs me down, and it increases your insulin, so you get this sugar spike, and that can kind of make your brain a little bit hazy or all over the place. I don't like that. I like to be very clear when with my thinking, and I've found that meditation, binaural beats, and fasting are really good at that. But what takes it up to the next level is titanium tea. Titanium tea is a productivity cocktail that I discovered from Tim Ferriss. I actually have an entire video dedicated to this on my YouTube channel. And in that video, I explain how this productivity cocktail. It changed my life, and it really helped me get through university and get the possible highest grade that I could with my degree. It seriously, I should say, has changed my life. It's been very useful. I use it to this day. I drank it this morning. And I'll explain a little bit more why this productivity cocktail works in that video. So if you want to go ahead and watch it, you can click the link in the description or the iCard in whichever corner it is. This routine is roughly what I will follow on a day-to-day when I'm working from home. You know, sometimes I'll miss out a thing or two, but if I miss out all of them or quite a number of them, I find that I do struggle. The closer I can make my days look exactly the same through following this routine and these habits, the more productive I am and the better day that I have. And, you know, on a day-to-day basis, these may only seem like little things, but when you add that up over a week, a month, a year, you can really start to appreciate just how much these things can help you in the long term. Other things that I found to be really helpful for my physical and mental health when working from home is to go for walks in the evening. I'll do at least an hour's minimum walk. I'll also exercise in the morning, and sometimes I'll move from different areas in the house to different desks or different rooms just to help break up the day. I would love to hear in the comments below what you recommend. Are there any tools that you use? Are there any habits that you have? Share them in the description, in the comments below, and I'm sure we can all find something that will help each other out. If you've enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you could give the video a like. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, where I also give tips like this on productivity, self-development, that kind of thing. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.